Okay, we should be live. Welcome to the Missouri Freedom Initiative. Today is Sunday, the 9th of January, 2022. And I want to say an apology to everyone I sent an email out to. I sent an email out to everyone saying that the live stream would be tonight, January 9th, 2021. I'm still signing checks 2021, gang. It always takes me a little while to actually get that done.
It takes like half the year, doesn't it?
It
By the time you
does.
get to June, and then you're already halfway through it.
Yeah, no, that's just the way it works for me. And it's always the way it's been for me. And I want to say hello to everyone who is watching on YouTube right now. So that would be Tribulation Prepper. We have James, Benji, Voodoo Queen, and Grant so far that I know of. So hello to all of you. If you can give us a 5x5, let us know if you can hear us okay before we get started tonight. We'll do rapid fire tonight. We're going to try and keep this under an hour tonight. By the way, as I'm waiting for a 5x5, just let you guys know I'm heading up to Kansas City tomorrow morning, and I'm going to meet up with our good friend Caleb, who you see in front of you, and we're going to be doing a show with the Talk Junkies up in Kansas City. So on their podcast, I don't know when it will be aired, but it will be recorded tomorrow. So just let you guys know as there's something to look forward to on that. And then, basically a few other things, pew pew, kind of stuff going on tomorrow as well. And just a little bit of guy time. So we'll get that. Okay. Grant's giving us a 5x5. Sheraton Farmers with us. Hello. And also Voodoo Queen 5x5. And thank you very much, Voodoo Queen. Mod extraordinaire. She is. Okay, gang. Let's talk a little bit about John Rizzo. For those of you who are not familiar with John Rizzo, he is a Missouri senator. And he probably will be watching this, by the way. So and not right now, but he'll probably watch it later. I heard, a little birdie told me that he might be watching this later. Gosh darn it, where did I do? What did I do? Oh, there we go. I accidentally shoved it to my top screen. Okay. Here's John Rizzo. He is a senator, and he is representing Jackson County, District 11. He is a Democrat, and he is in his first two-year term. Oh, hang on. His first two-year term in elected to Missouri Senate in 2016. That means he's been reelected, and he is on his final term right now, I think. But he is... Good riddance. Yeah, well, good riddance, but not until 2024.
I know. So, kind of sad, but still.
And I want to give you guys a little bit of background before you go through his bill that he has presented. And I want to say that you guys remember during SEPA, that happened in, of course, 2021, just last year. It's interesting to call that last year. It was 6 months ago, really, 7 months ago. He never stood up in the floor of the Senate. He had all of his peers, all of his comrades, stand up and speak against SEPA, but he himself did not. But he did speak about it after the fact, and said that he had absolutely no problem letting SEPA get through because it was unconstitutional and it was going to be struck down by a court. Well, it's been through two iterations of being in court, gang. The Missouri Second Amendment Preservation Act, it has not been struck down. And now Senator Rizzo has introduced a bill to basically take the teeth out of SEPA. Not only that, his bill also introduces some red flag laws to go along with it, just for good measure here. A little bit of icing on the cake. So first and foremost, before we go through the bill, I would like to officially announce that Senator Rizzo is an oath breaker. He is actually going to be the very first oath breaker officially on the Missouri Freedom Initiative website. He has broken his oath, and he has lost the trust of the people. He literally is taking the teeth out of SEPA, which will enable red flag laws or any other type of regulations from the federal government, from the ATF, from the executive branch of the federal government, to wash through the citizens of Missouri. That's what he wants. So you should understand Rizzo for who he is and what he's doing. He's an oath breaker. And he is trying to literally go with the Biden agenda of literally gun confiscation. So let's start going through the bills, shall we? This is actually Senate Bill number 1033. This was filed for this year, for 2022. And let's see. This is Back the Blue Act. I love it. It's like the Patriot Act, where they take away your... go ahead, Caleb. You say a little bit on that.
Oh, my God. Yeah, oh, my God. That's... Back the Blue Act. You know, I just gave it a general once-over. Mm-hmm. I haven't had a whole lot of time to actually dig into it, but it's pretty straightforward. When you actually, if you look at the bill or you print it, it has marked out, you know, exactly what sections of law, and actually spells out those sections of laws it wants to remove, which is the biggest chunk of SEPA. And then it doesn't replace it, just removes it. And that portion is called the Back the Blue Act. And then it proceeds to insert a red flag law, which is for any form, what's the word I'm looking for? Ex parte orders and things like that, when there's it's pre-crime red flag laws.
Yep. And not to mention, they're going after the same stuff that the Democrats were fighting SEPA for in 2021. When it goes through the legislative process, they're talking about domestic violence. So that was a big one. They talked about that a lot. That was not a small subject for them. It was huge. You know, in their minds, in the Democrats' minds, here in the state of Missouri, while it was going through the legislative process with SEPA, it was all about the victims. It's all about, you know, hey, listen, if you allow SEPA to go through, there's going to be a lot more domestic violence. Well, that has not happened. Now, we do have a lot more violent crime in Missouri, but it's almost exclusively in St. Louis. It's gang crime and drug crime in St. Louis. That's it. That's where the vast majority of our, in fact, not only the entire majority of our increase has been. We've not seen it down in southwest Missouri in the Springfield area. Kansas City has seen a slight uptick, but it's not even worth mentioning. It's almost exclusively in St. Louis. So it's gang crime. It's gangbangers shooting each other and killing each other over territory and over drugs. That's where our crime is. So, but of note, California is having the same problem. Michigan is having the same problem. Illinois is having the same problem. And we can go into the dynamics of when an economy is shrinking or an economy is going bad and what happens with crime, but that's not the purpose of this episode today. This is dedicated to John Rizzo. So let's talk about his bill a little bit more. So we got you back, John. We know what you're doing here. You're an oath breaker, and you want to take away guns from the people. You want to allow red flag laws through. You want to dress it up, you know, as some sort of bill to help women and children, you know, the victims, the helpless ones. That's what you want to do. But that's not truly what this bill is about, is it, John Rizzo? So let's talk about, let's see. First off, that's another thing. The red flag law contained in this is even being charged for domestic violence, not convicted, but charged with domestic violence. Isn't that correct, Caleb?
Yeah, and ex parte orders.
And ex parte orders, yep.
Yep, I saw that in there.
So it is.
Someone could get a restraining order, and it is literally a red flag law.
Yep.
In the most literal form.
Yep, that makes it a red flag law. Yeah, that is correct. It qualifies 100%. Now, this is Senate Bill 1033, and it's John Rizzo's bill. This is a Democrat from Missouri that wants to introduce completely eviscerating SEPA by taking the teeth out of the law. In other words, the ramifications, the consequences to law enforcement for breaking the SEPA law would be gone. That means basically SEPA's gone. Then we'd have the same bill that all the other states have. You know, absolutely no ramifications for law enforcement for breaking the law. And that surprises me, too, because the Democrats, When I go up to Jefferson City, at least in the representative's office, I see Black Lives Matter posters all over these representatives' offices. They were kind of anti-cop. Now John Rizzo is coming forward with a back the blue bill. Do you find that kind of strange, Caleb?
A little bit hypocritical.
Yeah, just a little bit maybe. Now, to be honest with you guys, I've not seen a BLM poster in Rizzo's office. So I don't want to give you guys the impression that he has one in his office. I've not seen one in there. But they're very, very critical of the police, at least up until now. Now they're working with police in Missouri because the police are saying they absolutely cannot fight crime anymore because their hands are tied. This has been dealt with over and over again. This does not stop them from actually dealing with crime in any way, shape, or form. In fact, they can still involve the Fed if they want to, but it's under Missouri law, period. The feds don't have jurisdiction. The feds can't control it. The feds can't inject red flag laws. You know, that's the whole point of SEPA, is to protect your Second Amendment rights. This man is trying to take them away. We have information, although it's not been fully verified yet, that that Caleb Roden, or who we call Rodent, is actually working with John Rizzo on this. Now, Rodent was going to be running for higher office and decided not to. Now he's going to go for Job of the Shots position as Senate Pro Tem in 2022. So he wants to run the Senate in Missouri. We understand, is working with. Go ahead.
It kind of sounds like he knows he's going to be in a rut of trouble, trying to run for higher office and at the same time trying to destroy the sovereignty of the people.
Yep. So my guess is right now, I don't have actual verification of this, but it looks like Rowden is wanting to work with Rizzo with getting this bill passed. We have turds in the punch bowl, my friend, in the Republican Party. We've had it here all along in Missouri. We're not here to sweep problems under the rug. We're here to expose problems in the Missouri legislature. That's what our purview is. That's our charter. That's our goal. And it's in our mission statement, is to root out corruption in the state of Missouri. My right to bear arms supersedes any of these gentlemen and what their plans are. So, John Rizzo, you're on notice. We're letting the state of Missouri know that you literally are creating an environment in which red flag laws can flourish with this bill. That's what you're trying to do. That makes you an oath breaker. So you are officially the very first oath breaker. And as far as I'm concerned, anything that you put out from this point forward until you retract this bill is illegitimate. And by the way, we're going to have people call and send emails to your office as well. You should know that the people of Missouri are upset with you. And it doesn't matter if you have backing from the Missouri Police Chiefs Association. It doesn't matter. They miss qualified immunity. They miss civil asset forfeiture. They want these gun laws back for the wrong reasons, because of corruption, because of money. That's what they want. And since when have you, John Rizzo, been so concerned about the police? Because you were all up in it with Black Lives Matter, weren't you, sir? So maybe we should have a debate with him. Maybe we should go up to Jeff City and sit down and have a conversation with him on camera. Talk more about this stuff.
Here's where I see the hypocrisy here, because I have no problem with being very, very critical of the police, because they're supposed to have a public job that they are supposed to enforce anyway. I have no problem with being critical of the police. What I have is critical of the police for your own agenda.
Yeah.
When you say, oh, I'm critical of them for this, but then, oh, well, I want them to be the only ones armed, and then I want them to have absolute control over this, you're a hypocrite. You're a freedom-loathing hypocrite.
Yep. And he's not the only one, but tonight is John Rizzo's night. When I talk to, because of his bill, which is so naked, bold, It just absolutely reeks. I'm sorry, Senator Rizzo. I'm sorry, we have to expose your bill. This is literally a dumpster fire. A dumpster fire of literally, let's just call it what it is, totalitarianism. You want Joe Biden and the Democrats in D.C. to start taking away guns from people in the state of Missouri. Just admit it. Just say it. So we know where you're coming from. Don't hide behind, oh, children, women. We have to protect them. They're so helpless. They're so weak. We have to protect them. That's what he's hiding behind. You always have to go behind the kids. You always have to go with the kids, right? Because that's how you get.
Historically speaking, tyrants always hide behind the children. They always hide behind the weak.
Yep. There is no exception for this particular tyrant. His name is John Rizzo. He is a senator in the state of Missouri, and he represents Jackson County. We'll be talking more about Jackson County here in just a little bit here, but that's what this bill is all about, everyone. And I'll put more information in the description section of this video so you guys can contact him directly. Once again, Senator John Rizzo up on your screen here. I will actually put this into the chat, and then we'll address the chat here in just a little bit, gang. I know Sunday nights are getting a little bit skinny lately because of sporting events and things of that nature and stuff like that, but that's what we could do for right now. We're going to add another night here pretty quick. But there you go. I just put it in the chat, and that's how you can get Senator Rizzo's telephone number, his email address. It's all there. So you guys can contact him direct. Now, once again, talking about Senate Bill 1023, before we get off the subject here, it is not in committee yet. There's no committee to call to talk to. This is literally just one-on-one communication with John Rizzo at this point. So
yeah, I don't think any bills have made it into any committees yet, have they?
I don't think so. And welcome to Casey Rich, by the way.
Oh, and I never heard of this Rizzo guy. I have no idea who he is.
Yeah, I know you have.
Couldn't possibly be from my district.
No, it couldn't possibly
I'd have
be.
to move.
Yeah, he is a piece of work. He's a piece of work.
It has had a first read, though.
Understatement.
Yeah, it's had a first read.
So there's probably not any sponsors yet that we know of, right?
No, you mean co-sponsors?
Yeah.
That generally doesn't work that way in the Senate. It's in the House is where they get co-sponsors. So in the Senate, it generally doesn't. They might have one or two or three co-sponsors, but it's not a big a deal to get a co-sponsor in the Senate. In the House, it's a big deal because that's the people's representation.
I don't know, SAPA got some pretty good co-sponsor numbers in the Senate.
It broke all the records, actually, in the House. Yep. It broke all records. They'd never seen so many co-sponsors on a single bill before in the history of the state of Missouri.
Well, you know what's interesting?
What's that?
If Rodin's actually working with them on this, surely he wouldn't co-sponsor it, would he?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Rowden would openly do this. I think he's doing it quietly in the background. We have turds in the punch bowl in Jefferson City, Republicans, turds in the punch bowl, and they tend to do evil things in the background. They publicly promote everything, constitutional and conservative, but behind closed doors, they're very different people. And so, go ahead.
I'm just wondering how they're gonna dress this pig. What kind of lipstick they're gonna put on it? You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're doing it. We know how they're doing it. The children, the women. That's how they're putting lipstick on this bill 1033. That's how they're doing it. That's very specific, guys. And by the way, we should have expected this. This is what they were saying when it was being debated in the Senate and in the House in 2021, the Second Amendment Preservation Act. It was all about domestic violence, if you guys remember.
Oh yeah. And so I guess anybody who opposes this bill is going to be all for women and children getting beaten.
That's
Is that what they're
correct.
going to try to imply?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
exactly.
basically, we're a bunch of wife
that
beaters
propaganda
and
needs to be
child
broken up.
abusers.
Yep. And pretty soon we'll be racist too. Go ahead.
Oh,
Well, they
that's
talked
why.
about that when they were doing the filibuster to get SAPA in. Remember when they was talking about the domestic violence and more gun violence, and they was talking about all that when they was doing the filibuster last year for the SAPA law.
Yeah. Yep. And gosh darn it, we did that live. And I remember, guys, when we were doing this live, a guy was contacting me from not from England. I'm sorry, from Ireland. Yep. And he was quoting to me what the U.S. Constitution says, and says that woman who's speaking, she doesn't even know the U.S. Constitution. And I'm not going to go any further into it because those of us who were there remember that. It was an embarrassing moment for us as Missourians. You know, but she was talking about, you know, people running around with their automatic machine guns, killing kids in schools. If you guys remember that. Okay, I won't go any further into it.
I bet I can't. I just the level of blatant stupidity. I can't. It's sometimes it's hard to tell if it's blatant stupidity or it's playing on the blatant stupidity of their base. That's the hard part sometimes to tell.
Well, actually, when someone says something like that, it's blatant stupidity. Because it just doesn't fly. I mean, running around with automatic machine guns, shooting up kids in schools. This has never happened before in the history of our nation. Never.
Oh, wait. Government did that once.
Oh,
remember
yeah.
What was that when the National Guard shot a bunch of people at a Vietnam protest at that college?
Kent State?
Yeah, Kent State. Yeah.
Government did that. They were the first ones to do it.
Yep.
And they actually did it with machine guns.
Well, that would be the first and last time. That is correct. But the government did it. You know, so that was government. That was a government operation. Remember now, the government doesn't mind killing people, citizens, as long as it can, you know, achieve an objective. It can, you know, push forward a narrative. So, and we can talk about that. We could talk about that in another podcast. We shouldn't do that in this one.
Yeah, not on YouTube.
Yeah, not on YouTube, you know, to be sure. So let me get to a few of your comments here before we move on to the next one, which is Jackson County, Missouri, and what's going on there tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So first off, hello to Michelle. Hey, Michelle. Michelle's with us. Looks like Latanya has joined us. Hey, Latanya. And, okay. And then Trey.
Trey Nitrotoluene. Oh, boy.
Uh-huh. Okay. Rizzo's bio says Senator Rizzo's marketing consultant. No wonder he's good at screwing folks out of their stuff. That sounds just right there.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Latanya says, I don't see a live on Discord. Actually, it should be right in the description section there, Latanya. If you wanted to come in and join us, you're always welcome to, of course. Let's see. Rizzo is still on the screen. Flip him the bird and give me a 5x5. Okay. So when do we overthrow our government? Our Constitution requires us to. Latanya, we're not quite there yet. We're still trying to do everything civilly.
This is something I tell everybody else that I work with in other groups and whatnot. That when it comes to this kind of situation, you don't give them the propaganda. You don't hand that to them. You separate yourself. You do what you have to defy, to not comply in large numbers, to separate yourself from the system, create a separate system in general, and then let them try to come after you when they're desperate.
Yeah.
Don't hand them propaganda.
Chris Stiegman, Pat, sorry I'm late. Got wrapped up in reading some debates about LE sentences. Almost forgot. Hope everyone panel as well. Hey, welcome to you, Chris. Thank you for coming in. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to move on to Jackson County. This is actually important, and I got this information actually from several sources. And actually, I'd like, guys, I don't know if you know this, I've got a Getter account now for us. Yeah, we've got Getter now. So if you guys are on Getter, I need to put it in our list of socials. But we do have Getter now. We have actually 1,177 followers on Getter. And that's in like 3 days. It's been 3 days ago I did this account.
That is awesome.
Hey there, it's LaTanya.
Yeah.
So basically, if you guys are on Getter, this is a Twitter alternative, and it is much, much, much freer speech.
I love Getter, so
I still like my dumpster fire of Twitter, though.
Yep, the dumpster.
It is fun. It is fun.
I go there to work my brain.
But they're all kind of dumpster fires in a way here. But at the same time, it is a way to reach more people, to get more people involved, to give more people ideas. Basically for going forward. Okay.
So how are we going to address this guy since it's not really the bill hasn't been put forth? What
I think we expose him. So what I would recommend, and what I'm going to do tomorrow, is I'll be calling his office and probably talking to an LA. And Rizzo probably won't talk to me directly. And I'm just going to let him know that everything that he's doing is against the Constitution of the United States and also natural law, the law to self-defense. And so he is an oath breaker. He is officially breaking his oath that he swore to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Are we gonna be emailing him?
Yep.
Because I want to do something. I want to email him. Should I say, okay, now you're on this list. We got our eyes on you.
Yep. That's exactly what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Before we go to the Jackson County thing,
yeah,
it's one thing I want to add.
Sure.
Is on Twitter, Governor Parsons' Twitter account, he put up this big old "back the blue" tweet, right?
Yeah, of course he did.
Which is kind of strange because you got Senator Rizzo just put out his "back the blue" anti-SEPA bill.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to use.
Kind of makes me wonder if the two are colluding in one way or another.
Yeah.
One hand scratching the other on this stuff.
In fact, a question I would really like to ask Governor Parsons is if he's had any talks with any county prosecutors, sheriffs, chiefs of police, or anything concerning SEPA and changing the wording in the legislation.
Okay.
Oh, I guarantee he has.
Yeah. How do you get him to say it? Because I guarantee he calls. Because I've called his office before, and they said, "Well, we don't know, but we can try and find out." Don't ever get nothing back.
Hey, those of you who go ahead.
I just find it strange. He puts that "back the blue" Twitter thing out today, and here's Rizzo's bill that he just come out with.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Probably gave him some money for it, Here, push this propaganda.
I mean, I'm not necessarily saying the two met in a restaurant and discussed it, but in a way, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a Parsons come out and say, "Oh, back to blue. We got to help our police officers." And if you remember one of his interviews, a while back, he goes, "Well, yeah, maybe there's some things we can change in there." So it's like he's setting it up for him.
Well, he met with the leaders of the BML from St. Louis. That's what shocked me, and to work on police reform.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of hypocrisy here, LaTanya, for sure. It exists here.
Switch parties.
Well, if they were intellectually honest, maybe they would.
Right?
And go ahead.
No, that's my son. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, these days, Democrats and Republicans are about one and the same. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Good joke.
Yep. But remember what we said, gang. I meant for those of you watching or listening, we knew they were coming for SEPA. That's why we formed this organization, was to safeguard SEPA. That was the primary goal of it. We expanded it, but this is the primary goal. We are safeguarding SEPA, and we're the only state that has teeth in our bill. That's why Missouri is the only state under attack from the Department of Justice. And believe you me, the Department of Justice is backing the court side of this. They're actively going after Missouri in court. They're still doing it, even though they've lost 2 times in court. They lost in Cole County Court. They lost in the appellate court. And now they're getting ready for the Missouri State Supreme Court. They just keep taking it back to court and keep taking it back to court. So They're still attacking. They're not going to stop. They're going on both fronts. They're going on the front of court and brand new legislation to take away the teeth.
I kind of wish I had that other.
Corporate propaganda is working their end of it too.
Sure.
So you basically got an unholy trinity coming after us.
Yeah. And then turds in the punch bowl. You know, we have Republicans that are. Go ahead.
I got an honest question that we need to be thinking about. When all of this collapses, and it will eventually, do we have anything for our communities set up? For like, we're going to have to eventually get back to a normal life, whether we do whatever or not. I think eventually, I don't know. This
is kind of the point of a total exit from the system.
Yes, a total exit is what I'm thinking. Because at some point, we're going to have to stop playing games and just say, we're not dealing with you no more.
Right. And part of that is, I mean, and this is going to sound really strange, but at what point do we realize we don't want to fund the transition to communism in the United States by paying taxes?
Right, and that's the problem I'm facing right now. I have a dilemma.
Wait. You guys pay taxes?
No.
I pay a ton of taxes. I want to not do this. This is ridiculous. They're going to keep using money for hookers and cocaine or whatever the hell they're doing. They're not doing the stuff they need to be doing for us.
Yeah, and child trafficking. Let's not forget that one, LaTanya.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I can't sleep at night because of it.
Yep.
The knowing is eating me up.
Yep.
That's why they say ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Because the opposite is knowing.
I know. Nobody told me that knowing the truth is going to make you not sleep. It won't.
Yep.
Well, I think it's really important too as we go into this midterm election that we really pay attention to the folks that are running too. See if we can't get all the info we can about those that are running.
Yep.
It makes it hard though when you have certain platforms that are censoring what we can look at. I'm finding DuckDuckGo is the best, but
not that great.
I mean, I have friends in other countries that can find stuff on our country better than I can.
Hey, Ryan is asking, who goes to court for our side when SEPA cases are heard? And that would be actually Eric Schmidt, our Attorney General. Also, Aaron Dorr with the Missouri Firearms Coalition is spending time there as well whenever we go to court. I don't think he's named in any court documents, but he goes to fight for us in Missouri as well. So we got to give credit where credit is due. He is doing that.
That's why I say it's really important because, you know, with Eric Schmidt wanting to go to the Senate or whatever he's wanting to do and stepping down from our Attorney General, we got to be really cautious about the next guy or gal that takes his spot because they may not fight for it.
And he has stepped it up. He is. Now that Supreme Court case yesterday was their day before. It was hard to listen to. It really was.
I didn't even bother listening to it. I don't want to hear them rambling because I knew exactly what they were going to do. They were going to make their little excuses.
It's Sotomayor. It's what she did. I mean, that's what people couldn't stand. I mean, it was kind of like our Senate debate with Barbara Washington, you know. Yeah. So over SEPA, you know, it was that level of stupidity, and it was just embarrassing for us here in Missourians, especially when people in Ireland are chastising us. You know, why is it your own politicians don't even know your own constitution? You know?
It's even even that whole thing. Even PolitiFact, one of the most corrupt fact checkers that throws propaganda out there, called that for what it was, a lie.
And everybody's blasted her on Twitter about it. I don't know a single person that took up for her, but you know it isn't going to do nothing. I mean, we have 3 liberals in our Supreme Court?
Yeah, actually, LaTanya, in my mind, we have 5. I'm sorry.
Right.
We have 5 on the Supreme Court, 5 liberals, including Justice Roberts. He is a liberal. He's wearing conservative clothing, but he is a liberal. Or more specifically, he's controlled.
Let's see here.
We need to get some kind of bills put forward from, term limits. We really do, and age limits.
Yeah.
Nobody needs a geriatric patient ruling.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. Oh God, I need to get this. I need to get this quote out because this actually makes the point. So, hang on a second.
Okay, while you're doing
yeah.
While you're doing that, let me go back so we can stay on track here, gang. Let's talk about Jackson County, Missouri. They're actually meeting tomorrow morning. This is why it's critical. It's important. Any of you who live in Jackson County, please listen. This is very important. Your county is meeting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. to determine whether or not they are going to literally break state law and use their own health department to force mandates, especially on school children.
Oh, my God.
This is not a joke. I've got it in front of me right now, and I'm going to put it in the chat so you guys can look at it directly. If you live in Jackson County, please call up tomorrow morning. I'm not sure it'll help, but please call your county commission tomorrow morning in Jackson County and let them know that you won't. And by the way, Eric Schmidt will fight this, but how long will it take for that to get done before they start forcing mandates on kids?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. This is time sensitive here. So, and I didn't know about this until earlier today, and it was folks on Gitter that were seeing that I was Missouri and looked into me and actually started sending me this data on Jackson County. So if any of them happen to watch this, thank you very much for sending that to me. I didn't know this was going on in Jackson County.
So that's going to be a county commission meeting?
That's correct. 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Depending on what time I get there in the morning, Caleb and I may go to that. If they don't,
we'll see.
If they don't make us wear, I'm not going to put on a face diaper. I simply won't do it. So, but holy crap, if we can get in without face diapers and I can get in front of the microphone, I can give them what for.
Where are they holding the meeting at?
Hang on. I just put it into the live stream chat. I am now putting it into the general chat and Discord. But I'm assuming it's the county building.
So are there other things that are coming with that? This besides like forced jabs and forced whatever?
Yeah, forced jabs is the main concern here.
Mm-hmm.
That is the main concern. Now, masks, we can... Go ahead.
That county accountable for that, while our state will air them accountable?
I don't know. I mean, this is literally, because the fact is that they're doing it tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock tells me that they're voting to do it. They're going to get it done. And then Eric Schmidt's office will be contacted. He will sue them. But it's, if I could, guys, I wish I could talk to Eric Schmidt on the phone, because it's time for him to start doing a couple of arrests here. I
agree.
Because he is taking on 50 school districts at one time. Now he's taking on counties, St. Louis County, Jackson County. I mean, he's constantly battling these guys in court. And the reason he's battling them in court is because they are not following Missouri law. Just like police chiefs and sheriffs don't want to, some police chiefs and some sheriffs don't want to follow the SEPA law.
Yep.
So equally, there are counties and cities that don't want to follow state law and health code. So this is the... Go ahead.
Do you think if he did issue warrants that those police in those counties would even arrest them?
Well, no, he'd probably have to use the state patrol in order to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt that the local police chief in Jackson County would arrest, or, in other words, apprehend, at least, slightly incarcerate, the leading commissioner in Jackson County, whatever they call him. But this is this has got to stop. This stuff has got to stop. It's already been decided in court that health departments do not have this authority. And what they're doing in Jackson County is they're voting to give their health department the authority to do whatever. And take it away.
I wonder if their people know that.
Which is illegitimate.
Yeah, it's illegitimate. We have supremacy clause in the state of Missouri. So therefore it's illegitimate. But that's the thing, is this is why we do what we do. in gun law. We shouldn't have to follow any gun laws.
No.
Because we have the right, literally, to bear arms that shall not be infringed.
Right, and that's the only one that shall not be infringed, but it should never be infringed.
Well, so is your right to free speech. You know,
right.
Everything. The only one people claim isn't infringed on anymore, or that isn't infringed on yet, is a third. The whole troops in your home. Well, then you look over at troops in your home at a time of peace, but then you look at like when the FBI seizes a house to do a raid on the one next door. Yeah, it's being violated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. I think that's crazy.
Yep. So if you're in Jackson County, please do something. At least that's Kansas City.
Oh, that's pretty far.
It is. But once again, there's nothing. This is a county thing that's going on. So it's not like I'm asking everyone in the state of Missouri to make a phone call to the Jackson County Commission. That is, if
that would be pretty amazing if we did.
If it happened, I mean, it's not like it would be my idea. It'd be your idea.
It'd be pretty cool if everybody got on the phone and be like, "We got our eye on you. We know what you're doing. You're on notice."
Yep. Someone's got to protect the kids here, gang. And I'll bet you my bottom dollar that most people, most citizens, most residents in Jackson County don't even know this is going on. I'll bet you my bottom dollar.
Oh, well, they'll just give them to them at school because, parents are used to signing that school thing or whatever.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Well, Patrick, earlier, didn't you say something too? I don't know if we can discuss that on the YouTube, but didn't you say something about like the quarantine part?
Yeah, we can talk about that because basically they have quarantine orders built into this as well, that they would have the right to quarantine people. And detainment. So
similar to the New York thing, indefinite detainment.
Yeah, Australia, New York, but also too, Kansas City, isn't that one of the sites of the proposed FEMA camps?
Yes, there's 800 of them in our country.
Yep. So maybe that's what their intention is. I don't know. And that gets into conspiracy theory. And generally, I don't like to do that. But guys, you almost have to.
It's not even conspiracy anymore. I mean, this.
It's open. It's in the open now.
There's also one in Fort Leonard Wood.
Yeah.
I feel like they're intentionally.
Armed protest is another one, another route.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Do they have a Facebook page? That's a good question, actually. I could look that up real quick. If there's a Facebook page for Jackson County, I'll bet you there is.
So I guess the bottom line is here, if they can take and do it in one county, other counties will follow.
They will.
Mm-hmm.
And they will love to. They would love to because then they would do it under the skies of county problem, not a state problem.
Yeah, if they can do it in Jackson County, it's one of the most liberal counties, only to like St. Louis County.
Damn.
The urban counties aren't going to go with that.
I was going to say St. Louis would be the next one to follow, and then probably whatever the next big one from those two would be.
But I don't think even Clay would do that. You got too many rural people and too many people in Liberty who don't do that shit.
Okay, guys. Yeah. Jackson County, Missouri Facebook page just went into the YouTube chat. You guys, it's got phone numbers, email addresses, the whole bag of horrors. It's all there. So you guys, hey, if you guys wanted to call up in fact, I'll be up there tomorrow, so I may give them a call I may give them a call while I'm on my way up there just to see if the public can attend that and if they have to wear face diapers.
Right.
So I'm, maybe I'll make an appearance there. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Maybe.
Well, the sad part is that with the health departments is being used as another agency to infringe on our rights, because like the big thing before was, the mental health crisis that we had here in the United States. So this is just another part to go along with that.
More healthcare costs.
Well, it's not even that though. It's just saying like if you go take, like, say if you're having a situation and you take yourself in to get, seek treatment or whatever, and you're not being forced, they still hold that against you as having mental health issues, which then it gets into your firearm rights and a whole bunch of other things that go along with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's a serious problem, gang, up in Jackson County. I thought I'd make you aware of it. It's not a statewide problem, but as far as I'm concerned, it's the responsibility of every adult to help protect all the children of the state, as far as I'm concerned. And that's what they're targeting, is the kids with this bill, believe it or not. I do think there's more to it than that, but I do think that's the main target.
So is this...
Go ahead.
This meeting going to be at the Jackson County Courthouse?
I believe so. Yep.
415 East 12th Street.
Yep.
Second floor, Kansas City.
Yep.
Shit,
Okay.
you probably have to wear a mask. You'll turn in your guns.
Yeah, I guarantee you cannot bring
detectors, everything.
Yep, you cannot bring your gun into those courthouses. I guarantee it. So you're going to have to leave them in your car.
Oh, it's like that. It's like that in every.
Yep, in every county.
You have to pay for parking or drive around for an hour trying to find a open parking spot.
Yep.
You say it's 10 o'clock, right?
I hate when the phone versus that.
Yeah, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning is when the meeting is. That's correct. And guys, I'm sorry about the short notice. If I had known about this, the last live stream, I would have let everyone know. I had no idea until literally about 6 or 7 hours ago.
Well, I will say that these people have a really bad habit of just suddenly springing this stuff up.
They could be
keep
that
it on
too.
the down low long enough until it's like the last minute, then they let it out there, so nobody can show up. Well, I may have to make some phone calls to change that.
Yeah, BH says mass non-compliance at this point, or what? That goes way too far to be allowed in Missouri. Agreed. This is going too far. This whole thing with this pandemic has gone too far now. Way too far. I'm sorry, pandemic. Nefarious motives, absolutely. Folks are incredibly naive and thinking that conspiracies, whether good or bad, don't exist. Yeah, I know. I just didn't want to get into a whole lot of that kind of stuff on this particular broadcast. Like I said, this run's really dedicated to Rizzo. And by the way, important to point out once again, this is Rizzo's stomping grounds. Where Rizzo comes from, where he's trying to take away our rights to bear arms, is the same place where they're trying to jab kids. Same place.
Mm-hmm.
Same communist hellhole. Jackson County, Missouri.
I wonder if Rizzo gave these guys any input.
I don't know.
This meeting that's going down tomorrow. I mean, I know he's not in the county legislature, but you know what I'm saying.
Go into the general chat over there on Discord and pull up those two those blue screenshots I saved there.
Okay. All right.
That is a quote from Thomas Jefferson about courts from it's a letter to Thomas Ritchie, December 25th of 1820.
Okay. Let's not read that right now. Yeah. But the gist of it is basically the people make the decisions, not the courts.
Yeah. It's a little more than that. It's talking about how the courts are a group of sappers and miners that expand their own power through their own jurisdiction because they have a lifetime appointment.
Yeah.
He referenced it as a leftover of the monarchy.
Mm-hmm. And hey, we have Grant with us too. Hey there, Grant. Okay, I'll tell you what, gang. We're going to wrap it up here pretty soon and keep this one shorter. Keep it to about an hour. We got about 10 minutes. You guys have any questions, please let us know. Oh, hang on. Freedom Inc. is here. Let's see. Missouri Liberty Alliance. There is no stopping the train now. People are ignorant of the facts and put government above God. Use your time wisely. Freedom Inc., I tend to agree with you, but I'm fighting till the very last to at least keep my state as free as humanly possible.
Right.
So I'm doing that first. And if I'm, it's an honorable fight, no matter what. Even if it's doomed to fail, and things go haywire and it goes Mad Max. I get it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep up the good fight, and I'm going to try and keep this state as free as humanly possible.
And it's not just this group doing it either. There's a lot of other people, a lot of other groups that are looking to completely exit the system as rapidly as possible.
Yep. Thank you for pointing that out, Caleb. I do appreciate that.
Millions of people looking to exit the system. Then it gives other people something to run to.
I have a question.
I need a link to that group.
To which group?
To the one that's ready to exit. I'm ready to exit.
I'm not putting that in here.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's fine. No, that's fine. I'm good with that.
Is the elite, since the elites control
you don't
left
get
and
to,
right?
Junior, we're not talking about that right now. Stop.
No, but he's
Junior.
They're all one and the same. The elites control both of them. They pay them.
Junior, go in the other room, son.
He sounds like me when I was 9 years old.
12. Go on. Go on. Yes, he's connecting.
You were a troublemaker, Patrick, back then.
What's that, Goat?
So you.
I'm sorry, Grant. I didn't. Go ahead.
Oh, I said you were a troublemaker back then too.
I was definitely. My parents were famous for saying I had a problem with authority figures.
That's a good thing.
Yep.
It's a good thing.
We grew up in.
Let's see. Cowboy Roy Rogers says he's absolutely correct. There are millions. I'm a board member of Freedom Restoration Foundation with about 1,000 members, all by himself, or I'm sorry, just with one small organization. And yes, there are others here in Missouri. We are one of many organizations in Missouri. It's just our focus is a little different than most of theirs. But we're all fighting for basically the same thing. You know, it's just to keep our rights. But, you know, you have a pro-life group. Their focus is on the pro-life stuff. You know, our focus is probably a little bit more on SEPA than it is on anything else, but we're also very much anti-mandate. Very much anti-mandate. Yeah.
I get what you're saying, how each group has its own specific goal or path, but we really need to get at least bare minimum the number one and number two of all these groups talking to each other and working together. That way we can actually make change, because that's one of the biggest problems with those who are conservative or on the right is we are individuals. That's what we are. It's what we do. But the left is a body, and they fight together, and they win because they all get together, all organized.
Yep.
We need to get that way.
I agree, and that was actually part of the.
I'm gonna throw something out there too. There's a lot of people that are also on the left that are sick of the system as well. They are more. It's the classic liberals, not the modern day progressives. The modern day progressives are the ones that run the collective like a communist run. The classically liberal and you know, people that are libertarian left is what you'd probably call them. They have a lot of the same lifestyles, but they in general are total individuality, absolute individual sovereignty.
It's just funny that a lot of the people I've interacted with that are on the left, like, they have every volition of doing what they need to do for what they think is best for them to, you know, fight the virus or whatever, but they get angry when people are given the freedom of choice to do what they do. You know, I'm like, well, I mean, it's just a bunch of loaded hypocrisy.
It is.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people on both sides that that have gone out of their way, and they've figured out that it's not, you know, what is that, left versus right as much as it is us versus them.
Well, it's
as in us versus the government.
I've even tweeted, and I've seen other people I, you know, hugely respect tweet. Who cares about where you're at on the left and right axis? It's more of where do you stand on the authoritarian libertarian axis? Because I mean that's where we're at this point. It's like either you enjoy freedom or you want someone telling you what to do.
I do see on Twitter there is like a shift of even with the liberals, they're even questioning things.
Yeah, and I'm not. It's always been. There's always been people on the left that are not the progressive modern liberals that just kind of shut up and they exit the system as that they're not. What's the word I'm looking for? They define themselves as individuals and they don't want any part of the collective. The loudmouths of that side tend to actually wind up speaking for the other ones that are there, and it winds up turning into a disaster. Yeah, the progressive liberal ideology is absolutely sickening. It has nothing but communist roots. And there's actually, believe it or not, in the authoritarian right, the high-level authoritarian right, you have a lot of fascist roots.
Yeah.
You have both.
Well, even
I was saying authoritarian is the problem.
Yeah. Well, even too, like, Patrick, like when we talked when we met up in Springfield a few months ago, there's so many people I know that I can have like very rational conversations about history and things like that, specifically like older people that lean more left, but then like all common sense goes out the window and they're doing double speak and double think for the virus, and it's like I see it more and more every single day.
And it's like at one time they were like F pharma, and now they're all about big pharma, and I'm a little lost on their thought process.
Exactly.
It's and that's the progressive left that's doing that. If you talk to someone who actually has been, whether it be throughout their life or the last few years, has completely shifted to moderate libertarian or left libertarian or classically liberal, like Kennedy liberal, they're of absolute total individual sovereignty. Nothing less is acceptable.
Well, if you think about it, I think Kennedy liberal then is our more conservative now.
Actually, Kennedy liberal was significantly more conservative than our current Republican Party. He was all about low taxes, smaller government.
Like I would
abolishing gun laws.
I would consider myself a classical liberal. So
yeah, and that's technically libertarian. Classical liberal and libertarian are the same thing. They, they're very close cousins. Yeah. I want to address a few things that freedom. Go ahead. I'm sorry, LaTanya. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
There is a tweet this morning that I got a screenshot of, so I'll post it. I think it was one of the congressmen posted that only 10% of our population are actually liberal. I think that's how he had posted. So if we're allowing 10% to start making our bills and our laws, we need to think what we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, which none of those 99% of those bills and laws should have ever been proposed or even thought of to begin with.
Exactly.
That's why you got to start thinking 3%.
Yeah.
Hey, Freedom Inc., I want to address you on something here you're talking about. Is the illusion of freedom worth fighting for? No, it isn't. People are unwilling to sacrifice, and freedom one's at a specific cost. Blood and lives. If you don't have the will to pay the price and accept it, then you, not you, but us, will never be free. I want to address that real quick here, gang, because he has a point here about fighting for the illusion of freedom. That is correct. We are fighting for the illusion of freedom. We are, because people follow laws. They understand laws. They understand the concept. Most people don't understand that it's a conceptual framework for a prison, but they do accept laws. So to educate everyone that the federal government is literally not worth following because it is unconstitutional is a much harder education than actually just changing laws and getting yourself freer and freer and freer with each successive law that you pass, trying to get towards that goal of getting rid of that construct altogether. So that's the reason. We'd have to get everyone out of public schools. We'd have to shut down the public schools and then re-educate about 2 or 3 generations of people about how the system actually works in order to do it the other way. So that's we just don't have time for that, to teach people that volunteerism is actually closer to what the original founding fathers had talked about and what the founding documents were about. So that's why we do it that way, Freedom Inc. That's why. Go ahead.
It goes into a lot more there too, because it's not just about changing laws. It's also about moving towards exiting the system completely, educating at the same time, doing all of the angles, attacking tyranny at every angle you can at once.
But now, are we moving towards that quantum system where we have to do a life claim and all that stuff?
A life claim?
They're calling it a life claim to get your birth certificate off of the reserve, whatever. I'm learning about this stuff. I'm just learning, so I sound a little weird, but there's something to do with quantum grammar. Some guy named Russell J. Gold, he redid something with our Constitution, and it happened in 1999, and it has to do with postal wars. I know this sounds weird. I'll send you a link to this guy, and he's basically saying that our government is null and void because it was rewritten to go where our money goes to the federal, or to basically big bank, instead of being gold back.
That's been a thing for almost 100 years.
1791.
Right. They did that, and now he did something with this quantum grammar and changed something where you can make a life claim and basically divorce our government completely.
Well,
okay. I don't know anything about that, but I'll tell you what, it's something I suppose worth looking into. It sounds like sovereign citizen stuff to me.
Yeah, something like that.
You basically exit, the political system as well as being a citizen of the United States of America, and you just become a resident of America.
Which I know people that have done that before. We know people that have done that before. It's just it turns into a complete disaster too in other regards.
Yep. In fact, I know people that have done it too, and they had some very serious problems they shared with me for doing it.
All the power with the states. So until you take over your state, just exiting the system doesn't work. You have to, if you want power, the power to be free, the power to be left alone, you have to go where the power is. That's the state.
No, you have to exit the system. If you can exit the system, get enough people to exit the system, you don't have that problem.
You get enough people.
You don't feed the system if they can't launder its money through you.
Right. Yeah, I understand that, Caleb, but educating people to have that many people exit the system simultaneously is an enormous feat.
Not as much as you might think. I'm not going to say stuff here.
Okay. All right.
I do know that
with the Free State Project, they're trying to take a state out of the union.
Yes, that is essentially what they're trying to do.
That's the plan. You have to take the state out because you as a person, you can't. I mean, you have no authority or nothing. You need to take the state.
Well, it's not that. Yeah, you can try that too, but you need to do other things at the same time, like exiting the system. I can't go into detail here about what all I'm trying to do, but
you're gonna have to do something like a live on Discord, so I want to know what you're gonna say.
No, that's
I know.
Yeah, that's something we'll plan out. In fact, LaTanya, we need to get together here sometime soon and start planning some local meetings here.
It's stuff that I don't want. It's stuff that I don't want to say online. The reason being is because this is stuff that, say, if you have a plan on how you're going to exit the system, how you're going to build communities and whatnot, you don't want that kind of thing floating around on the internet. At least not where.
Caleb, you're exactly right.
Yep. So actually, let's just stop talking about that aspect of things.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I guess maybe we all just have a group meeting in person.
Yep, that's correct. And we need to set that up. So we need to get that done soon.
I got a middle of nowhere.
I'm sorry?
I got a huge farm in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I'm thinking about, like a building, a structure that we can have, the meetings in. It's awfully cold out. I mean, you don't want to be outside in Missouri during the winter for a 2 or 3 hour meeting.
I got Freedom Inc. in there being a Debbie Downer again.
Okay.
Aww.
Well, Freedom Inc. If you can believe what you want, do what you want there, but we're going to keep going with this and every angle we can, and maybe you'll find out one day. Huh?
We'll do. Yeah. What we're trying to do is actually free a state. And basically, we have some wonderful opportunities here with Senator Mike Moon's bill, which we will feature next week and give him praise, because he's wanting to give us an avenue to nullify virtually anything that comes out of the federal branch of the or the executive branch of the federal government, and we can do that.
That'll be so great.
Mm-hmm. So any regulation, any rule, any whatever passed through the ATF, the EPA, the IRS, OSHA, Department of Labor, Health and Human Services, whatever, name a cabinet level position. Just name any of them. They would have to go through our General Assembly before we'd accept it as law in the state of Missouri, or rule or a regulation that can be enforced in the state of Missouri. Our General Assembly would be the final say. And this is the way
that would help work out a lot, since you've been going to court a lot.
Yep. It would be, we'd constantly be going to court. But then again, we'll never ending be in court for SEPA. If we can keep SEPA, they'll just keep taking us to court. They'll never stop.
Right.
Yep.
That's there's a lot of reasons for it that I'll talk more about in a private meeting than I will in a public one or a broadcast. There's a lot more reasons why they want to get rid of SEPA. And we're talking about the public ones that are very demonstrably provable, but there are some other reasons too that we, like I said, we shouldn't do in a public broadcast.
Hey, on that point, all these, maybe Rizzo and some of these others that are trying to push this bill, they're so concerned about the police. Perhaps maybe they should be looking into some of the things that go on down southeast.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
I mean, if they're really about getting corruption, because they talk about defunding the police and all that stuff. I mean, if they really want to root out some corruption, maybe instead of pushing this legislation that would basically give what do you call it, asset forfeiture. The other thing where they don't have to take responsibility. What's the word for that?
Liability?
No, I'm talking about the law enforcement officers.
Qualified immunity.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I'm bad with names. I keep forgetting, but I mean, if they're really all about corruption and taking care of making the community safe and everything, maybe that's something they can look into.
Yep.
I mean, we all know they ain't gonna do it, but
well, if they're
throw it out there, because they're talking about how they're so concerned about women and children and crime and all. I mean, especially they're talking about crime. Hey man, there's some stuff they could look into.
Yep.
But of course, we know they're not going to do it.
Nope.
We know corporate propaganda ain't going to do it, because 60 Minutes. I mean, they used to like back in the 70s consider themselves investigative journalism. They did that hit piece. Man, imagine what a corporate propaganda machine with that kind of money and influence could have done if they really want to investigate things that are going on down there.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, they're not going to do it. We got to figure out how to do it, because none of these other people are going to do it. They just want to take away SEPA, go back to business as usual, and then do their little spew about how they care about crime and stopping crime and all that. I mean, I'm going to come out and say it. We know it's BS.
It is.
But they're wanting to go back to business as usual. And they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna hide behind women and children, try and make us look like the bad, evil trolls that don't care and all that nonsense.
They will indeed.
And hillbillies, they'll call it hillbillies.
Yeah.
Rednecks with machine guns.
Yep.
Well, we are past the 1 hour mark by 10 minutes. If we can kind of wrap up, then we can kind of talk in the actual voice chat afterwards. That way we can, because we got to have this watchable. I mean.
Yep. And on top of which, too, I got things I got to do. I'm heading up to Kansas City very early tomorrow morning. So I can't stay.
What time are you leaving? Like 7 something?
7 in the morning. Yep.
Yep.
And so I got tons of stuff to do before I can even do that tonight. But as always, as we close out the live stream on YouTube, we will stay in Discord. I will stay in Discord for at least a half an hour. So you guys can come on in and chat with us literally, for a half an hour. And some people stay even later. And that's cool. And that way we can talk about things that we can't talk about in the live stream or talk about on YouTube more specifically. So we can get more to the nuts and bolts and the nitty-gritty of certain subjects. So, but I want to thank all of you for joining us. Please do watch from the beginning. If you did not catch the beginning of this, very important information on this, on what's going on in Jackson County. We also covered Senator Rizzo's bill to destroy SEPA and to enter red flag laws into the state of Missouri. Yes, we do have a Democratic senator that wants to take away your right to bear arms and introduce red flag laws into the state of Missouri with one single bill, SB1033. Information is right down below in the description section. I want to thank all of you again for joining us this evening. Thank you to Freedom Inc. and Susie who came in, Patriot Pearl, Michelle Mamil, of course, Michelle, one of our mods, Voodoo, thank you. And a whole bunch of people I can't read because that's monitor's too small for my old eyes to see. But I am so grateful you guys came in. Please stay tuned. There's information coming up. Please do call Rizzo's office. Let him know he's an oath breaker. Let him know you're putting him on notice. That's all you have to do. Send him an email. Do a phone call. This is not even in committee yet. So, basically you don't need to call your rep or your senator. Just call Rizzo directly. Email him directly. So that's my advice. Okay, any final thoughts?
Tell him you're already on it. Already watching every move he makes.
Yep, and he'll be watching this too. I guarantee it, gang. Like I said, I had information earlier today that led me to believe that he'll be watching this video. So, hello, Senator Rizzo. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Senator Rizzo, please subscribe and like. Okay, this is probably the very first time anyone in Missouri has given you your own show. So even though we called you unconstitutional and an oath breaker, and everything, so it happens. But at least we gave you some attention.
Senator, read the 10th Amendment.
Yeah, 10th Amendment, Second Amendment, First Amendment. I'd highly recommend the 14th Amendment. There's a lot.
Let's see here. Oh, there's Article 1, Section 23 of the Missouri Constitution. Oh, and then there's Article 1, Section 3 of the Missouri Constitution, which should tell you what we have the right to do as well.
Yep. Okay. All right, gang. We're going to go ahead and stop the live stream now. Once again, thank you for joining us. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us today. Take care, gang.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Go Chiefs.